Hi there, welcome to this week's Ask Amy. Today we're going to talk about something in our communication that's probably one of the most powerful tools that you have. It's just something that we don't do very well. I know I don't anyway. The power of the pause. We're going to talk about the ability to be able to stop and think and allow some pretty magical things to happen. And I'm not just talking about with your patients in the office. I'm talking about just in general with our families, with our friends, with anyone. How do you feel when you're talking with somebody and it's evident that they are waiting for you to finish talking so that they can fill the blank? Or how do you feel when you're interrupted or when somebody finishes your thought for you? You know, it's not a very good feeling. You don't feel very well heard or listened to. Now, granted, we have trained our patients to come in and listen to us because we do a lot of talking and educating and explaining and all of those things. But I'd like to challenge you to just pause. You know, here are some reasons to pause. Sometimes our patients might be simply taking a breath. I have a daughter who loves to talk and loves to fill the space, if you will, and we'll be sitting at the dinner table and Gloria's going a mile a minute talking about something. We did it this weekend. She went to camp in Colorado and came home and didn't shut up for probably about 15 hours. And I'm serious. She just kept on talking. But, you know, she just loves to talk. She loves to communicate. And it's kind of funny because we'll get after her periodically and say, Gloria, you interrupted. And she says, no, you took a breath. And so that was her signal to talk. Well, you know, allow your patients to take a deep breath. Allow them to think and process. You know, you're asking your patients some things that they've never been asked before. And so they do need some time to process. They probably haven't been asked in any other dental office what's most important to you when you think about your teeth, because they're used to you telling them. So allow them to process and think and just simply take a breath. You know, another reason to pause is it shows that you're listening. See, patients are constantly gauging your interest in their point of view. They want to know, are you listening to me? Are you hearing what I say? And when you pause and you know, process and collect your thoughts and show interest, it does show that you are listening. You know, let the patient fill the void. If there's silence, you know, let them fill it. It's human nature to want to talk when there's silence. So instead of you filling that void, allow the patient to do it. See, they feel validated. They feel understood. They feel heard when you can pause. And, you know, I mentioned it a minute ago, but it gives you time to think. All right. When we have a conversation, typically it's not very, you know, immediate response. You know, if I'm having a conversation with my family, unless it's Gloria, there is not a immediate response. Sometimes we think and we ponder and we process, and that's perfectly normal. You aren't expected to have responses slide right off your tongue, okay? Because that's when it comes across as ingenuine, insincere, and that you aren't really listening and caring. Now, how can you pause? I think one of the things you can do is minimize distractions. You know, it's very difficult to listen and pause if you're doing a new patient interview, for example, and you're in the consultation room and you have the ringer on the phone in there. You know, and the phone's ringing. That's a distraction. If you are overbooked and you have too many things going on and you're worried about, as a doctor, the patient in the next room that's not getting numb, and so you're really not listening to the handoff that the hygienist is giving you, and you have your own agenda and you're just trying to get through. You're not pausing. So minimize distractions. The best way you can do that is fix the darn schedule. Okay, get it right so that you can take time to listen, take time to pause. The other thing is just being curious. Okay, if I'm trying to learn something about somebody, or I'm really engaged and really interested and intrigued, I'm going to be listening and I'm going to pause because I want to know more. But again, if you're a little uneasy with that process, which you will be at first, your tendency is going to be to want to fill that void. But if you can in your mind think, you know, I'm just curious. I just want to know more, then you'll find it easier just to simply pause. The other way that you can make pausing a little bit easier is ask a question with the intent to get an answer and care about that answer. I see on video quite frequently and role playing with some of you is what happens, well, a video I saw here just this past week, is the questions are being asked just to get through the questions. It's like, I know I'm supposed to ask these open-ended questions, so okay, here are 5 and I'm going to ask them so I can get through that. You're not really asking the questions with the intent to get an answer, which sounds crazy, but if you think about it, if you watch some of your interaction with patients, you'll see what I'm talking about. We tend to make assumptions or plant answers even just to get through that process. We might ask a patient, oh, what goals do you have for your teeth? And they're thinking, say, well, you want to keep them, right? And so we plant answers, or we just get through that process, and then we can get back to normal in how we operate and communicate. But I promise you, if you will pause and you will ask questions with the intent to get an answer and be interested and curious in that answer, you will have an easier time with the pause. So here's your challenge this week. I want you to ask a question, and before you jump in, before you fill the void, even once the patient is answered, just in your mind count to 10. Just acknowledge, nod, show that you're actively listening, but don't jump in to say something until you've counted to 10 in your mind. And here's what's going to happen. Patient's going to start talking, and they're going to give you more information. They're going to say more things. And that's exactly what you want to have happen. Remember, we want the patient talking 80% of the time. We should be talking only 20% of the time. And if you find that's not the case, you're probably not pausing. You're probably not asking questions with the intent to get an answer. You're probably not being curious or allowing the patient to fill that silence. So give it a shot this week and let me know how you do. I would love to hear your stories. I would love to hear your challenges. If there's anything that you would like to have covered in these videos, feel free to shoot me an email, amy@bradygroupllc.com, and I would be happy to publish a video on that topic. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.